Hey guys, what is going on? I did just put these on just so I could take them off, but I want to do a quick video about one unknown strategy to accelerate fat loss. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so we know about fasting. Are you going to tell us to walk more? Is it going to be to decrease calories? Is it going to be to train more, exercise more? No, it's none of those things. It's actually the way you structure your meals. So basically, what I would recommend is to protein load earlier in the day and save your energy calories for later at night. Now, why would you do that? Well, basically, earlier in the day, your body is alert, you're in sympathetic nervous system mode, you're doing things, you're getting going. And if you eat a meal with just a good amount of protein, not too much energy calories, so not too much fat, not too much carbs, obviously, you're gonna stay in that sympathetic nervous system state, and it's gonna keep you alert. But the other thing is that your body wants a certain amount of protein and nutrients daily. So if you fulfill that requirement earlier in the day, it's gonna decrease the amount that you'll need later in the day, which makes it easier to fight off cravings. You're not gonna over-consume and overeat. Sometimes I used to try to fast through the whole day, and I actually found that I got better results when I protein loaded earlier in the day, and then I saved more of my energy calories for later at night. So, you're satiated with a smaller meal earlier in the day. Your cravings go down, you fulfill the protein and nutrient requirements, and then when you have that big meal later in the day, then you enter the parasympathetic state, which is like rest and digest mode. So it's really where your body starts to go into that relaxation period before you go to sleep. And there's two things that do that. One, carbs. Carbs definitely does that, and that's kind of the food coma feeling a lot of people get. Second thing, though, is just having a big meal. If you have a really, really big meal, that can definitely send you into a parasympathetic state. So for me, I like to follow this approach. It's similar to a warrior diet approach where you're saving most of your food for later in the day. Some people worry that this is going to impact their fat loss, and they think, okay, well, if I eat before bed, I'm not going to burn that food off, so I need to eat it earlier in the day to burn it off. That's not necessarily true. When you eat your food does not significantly impact fat loss. It still does come down ultimately to calories. But if you do have sleep quality issues, you may want to backtrack your last meal about 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. So if you're going to go to sleep at 10 p.m., I would say, if you have dinner at about 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you should be good. Now, that's the major key here. And what does protein loading look like? So earlier in the day, maybe you're having some tuna, some salmon, some whey protein, some ground beef, or some steak without any added fat. So that would be protein loading. And then later in the day, you could go for the fatty steak, or the whole eggs, or the bacon, or the whole chicken with the skin, things like that. So you're saving more of those energy calories for later. Another quick tip is, if you're gonna have a cheat meal or a cheat day, load up on protein earlier in the day. This is gonna decrease how crazy you go with the carbs later in the day. So this is something I've implemented for myself, where early on I used to just have these crazy cheat days, but nowadays, if I feel like, I'm gonna go out for a social occasion, maybe I'm gonna go out to dinner, what I'll do is I'll load up on protein earlier so that when I go to dinner, I'm not famished, I'm not starving, I don't wanna destroy a bunch of fries and ice cream and whatnot. I can just have a good amount of food, a normal meal at a restaurant, maybe it's a steak with some fries or some potatoes, and the cheat meal doesn't turn into a all-out binge because I'm super filled up and I'm super satiated on the protein from earlier. So that's another tip. And then bonus tip right here to accelerate fat loss, decreasing food variety. So the more variety you have in your meals, the easier it is for you to eat. And that's called, hyperpalatable foods. You incorporate a lot of variety. You've got bacon and you've got eggs and you've got beef, steak. You incorporate maybe some different condiments, and then you put some cheese on top. It's so delicious that you can eat a ton. Now, this is good maybe if you need to up your calories, but if your goal is fat loss, you're gonna probably be overeating. So one of the things I do if my goal really is fat loss is I will go on close to a mono-food diet. A mono-food diet means you pick one food, you know, maybe if you want to go for it, you could do like 2 foods, and you only eat those foods. So if I was going to do a strict fat loss diet, I would pick beef as the number 1 food. Second one would be eggs. So decreasing the variety is going to naturally cause you to be satiated at fewer calories, and you're less likely to overeat. So ultimately, if your goal is to get super lean, use these tips, and I believe that they will be helpful for you. Comment below if you ever do this, if you've ever done protein loading earlier in the day. For me, it's a strategy that really works and just kind of keeps me on the straight and narrow as far as diet goes. So that's my tip for today, guys. Hope it helps you out, and I will see y'all in the next video.